Head coach Matt Eberflus gives us an injury update on Kyler Gordon. And while it's not great, it isn't terrible either. It's just more concerning. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, DJ Moore talks about what the key to the Chicago Bears' success has been. And DeAndre Swift, quietly over the last month of the season, has been one of the best running backs in the game of football. We'll talk a little bit about that and more on today's Chicago Bears.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So I want to start off talking about the update to Kyler Gordon, which Matt Eberflus gave yesterday. I'm going to read this directly from Matt Eberflus saying this. We don't know the severity of that, so we'll figure that out as we go. But we're hopeful. We're fortunate that the bye week is here. And of course, that is fortunate for the Chicago Bears in general that we sit right now in the time of a bye period where we're looking at Jaquan Brisker, who missed last game, Kyler Gordon, who went out, Tyreek Stevenson, right? A lot of members of our key secondary that has been so good for the Bears this season and has been a big part of why the Bears have had the success that they've had. It goes on to show why, why getting everybody healthy is important, right? Kyler Gordon right now has been part of a defense that has held opponents to under 21 points or fewer in 12 straight games, right? That dates back all the way to last season. The Bears right now are killing it defensively. And so, of course, you want to take advantage of the bye week to get your guys back healthy. And I hope that we hear a more promising update in regards to Kyler Gordon here sooner rather than later. But with Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, who's been out for a while now as well, all these guys who are banged up. Hopefully this bye week does a really good job or helps the Chicago Bears get back on the healthier path, because we already know, as I've been talking about for the last couple of episodes, the battles that are about to start for the Chicago Bears in the second half of the season, especially with our divisional matchups after week 11, it's all really important for the Chicago Bears. And, overall, you want to have your guys out there healthy so that you can have a best chance. The Bears are trying to put together a playoff season. That's what they're attempting to do. And you want everybody healthy to be able to do that. It's already bad enough. The offensive line is going in the right direction. We're getting Ryan Bates back, who's missed the majority of the season up until this point. You don't want to miss Kyler Gordon because, as I've said before, Kyler Gordon to me is one of the most versatile cornerbacks in the game of football right now. When you look at how he's used in coverage, how he's used in run blitzing, pass blitzing, just all over the field, having Kyler Gordon at that nickel is such a luxury for the Chicago Bears. And it's just something that helps this team, the engine that is this team, go on that defensive side of the ball. So you really want Kyler Gordon to be back healthy. So prayers up to him. Hopefully he's speedy recovery and that he's ready after the bye week so the Bears can continue on this path. And let's make these playoffs. Part of what's going into the Bears making the playoffs as well is the offense just being better. And DJ Moore talked a little bit about that, saying winning is the best thing that we can do. No matter what the stats say, I feel like we can be a team that goes for the long run this year. And I agree with that. When you look at it right now, I know that we came into the season asking questions like, could Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Rome Odunze all go over the rush to 1,000 yards, right? And while everybody isn't really on that path yet, when you look at how we're spreading the ball around, right? Everybody's getting their opportunity. Everybody eats, is so to say, the quote state property. Everybody eats. But, when it comes down to it, you're going to have your days where, in like last game, it was Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet having 2 touchdowns, right? It's going to be games where DJ Moore doesn't have necessarily the yards. And so it's really about this offense right now, where it is, putting aside egos, which it seems like they have. I haven't heard any ego issues or anything like that. Putting that aside and just doing what it takes to win football games. That's the most important thing right now. The offense hasn't been the well-oiled machine that we hoped or looked like, or with all the weapons that we had envisioned and things like that, but they're starting to get it done. They're getting it done by the versatility that they have, which means there's going to be a game where DJ Moore has a big game. There's going to be a game where Rome Odunze has a big game. There's going to be a game where it's more Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift, whatever it takes, right? And as Caleb Williams is getting more comfortable out there as a quarterback in the NFL, as we're just growing as a team, yeah, it's going to take for people to kind of, understand that it may not be their day every day. Even a player like Jaylon Johnson, right, who a lot of Bears fans, of course, want to see get a bigger opportunity. I've talked about it, things like that. All those things, it just comes down, you got to do what it takes to win. And having a team that is focused on winning, and, the old adage goes, winning cures all, right? And so, you really want that. And so we have the weapons on offense. That just, with having a rookie quarterback, having the offensive line woes that we have, still getting acclimated, things like that. It hasn't been this super well-oiled machine as if we were a team that's been together 5-6 seasons or anything like that. But, you're seeing bits and pieces of it. And we're going to have, hopefully, more games where we're putting it all together day in and day out. But leading into that, it's good to hear that everybody on this Bears team is having the right mindset as far as, hey, let's just go out there and win football games, whatever it takes to win. And, this team does have a chance to make some noise via what we've seen so far. They still got to prove it with the tougher test, right? You can't ignore the fact that the Bears have not faced necessarily against the best competition. But overall, you look at how it's being spread out in the run game. Like DeAndre Swift, who I'm going to talk about here in a second, 325 yards on the season so far rushing. You look at the pass game, it's still being spread out. 314 yards for DJ Moore, 218 for Cole Kmet, 246 for Rome Odunze. DeAndre Swift has 193. Keenan Allen, who's played 4 games, he's missed 2 games, 122. So, it's being spread out. And that's the important part in this, is that we're getting to a place where we're utilizing our weapons on offense much better than what we did at the start of the season. So that slow start to the season definitely plays a part into that. And I think that, that's something you can't overlook when it comes down to it. But we're going to get there. And I think at over time, as this Bears team continues to grow and it continues to evolve and those things happen, we're gonna eventually look more like the team we want to look like offensively, right? So to hear from DJ Moore right now that the team's embracing the fact that it's coming right now, the offense, it could be anyone at any time. And with that said, that actually adds a little bit of unpredictability to what we have. We're not using the depth in maybe the way we thought coming into the season, where everybody's having these big games. We're having these huge offensive explosions where we're getting 350 yards total offense every single game. We're not having that yet. But there is still something to say that with the weapons that we have here, the opposing defenses have to play to that. And, the Bears got to continue to find ways to take advantage of it. We haven't always done that the best. I think that goes without saying, but we just got to get there. And I think overall, this Bears team is working and it's improving. And, we're getting better every single week. And, that's what you want, is that steady progression for the Chicago Bears. Because like I said, leading into week 11, after week 11, the whole last 8 weeks of the season, we're about to get our ass kicked. And I don't mean that means we're going to lose games. I mean that teams are going to get after us. It's going to be these physical matchups for the defense and the offense. And so, when you're building up that confidence right now in the versatility and the way you're able to use your weapons, that's really important. And so we're seeing that happen for the Chicago Bears. And I think that's really good. And part of that highlights all of that as well is look at how we came into the season talking about DeAndre Swift, right? I was the one saying that DeAndre Swift was towards the bottom of every statistical category for starting running backs. He just was. But then you look at it now, over the last few weeks, 257 rushing yards, he's 4th. 3 touchdowns, he's 3rd. Receiving yards, 147, he's 1st for running backs. Yards for scrimmage, 404. He's 2nd in total yards for scrimmage and for running backs. For all that was made at the start of it, DeAndre Swift is starting to be that weapon that the Bears brought him into. And I know, Khalil Herbert not playing more, of course that's going to get its detractors and things like, well, Khalil Herbert's not playing at all. But the fact of the matter is that we brought in DeAndre Swift because of the things that he does better than Khalil Herbert. Part of that is in the passing game. Part of that is his ability to make plays out on the outside. And DeAndre Swift is starting to do that. And Shane Waldron has adapted his system better to use Swift. And, it just goes to show that as Shane Waldron has called better plays and been better as a play caller, it's coincided with DeAndre Swift being a bigger part of that offense and a bigger weapon for the offense. So his ability to be a pass catcher out the backfield, then also when you need runs between the tackles, that combination between having Doug Kramer there at fullback and Jaylon Johnson there at halfback, that's also turning into it. So the combination of Swift and Johnson, while I'd like to see a little bit more balance and Jaylon Johnson get a little bit more opportunity, it's working for the Chicago Bears. And we found our version of what the Detroit Lions, for example, used last year with DeAndre Swift. So, you got to take that for what it's worth when they had the 2 running backs that season. So, because at the end of the day, I just look at it and I say this. DeAndre Swift, Roshan, this running game, and as well as Caleb Williams also getting more involved in the run game as well. Like, we're finding the balance. And that's the thing that's always going to be over the season. It's finding and striking the right balance in how you use your weapons on offense. And the Bears are really starting to get and understand that better. And so with the confidence building in the team's confidence in Shane Waldron's play calling, Shane Waldron just being a better play caller, all those type of things are moving towards the Bears offense is getting to the point of solid. And with Matt Pryor and Ryan Bates coming back and the growth of Bill Murray and these type of guys and Tevin playing better, Darnell Wright playing better, even Braxton playing a little bit better at times, right? All these things happening are all coming together, hopefully at the right time where the Bears need it when things are about to get tough as fuck for the Chicago Bears. And that's not even to say if Ryan Poles doesn't make a move for a Wyatt Taylor or a Sheriff or Brendan Sheriff or anything like that. Like, this team, the trajectory is pointing in the right direction. And, that trajectory can get punched in the face and get turned around as we start playing tougher competition. I'm in no way a blind Bears fan, right? You guys know I'm an optimistic Bears fan, but I still am going to call it like I see it. That's always one thing here. I'm not going to blow smoke just because I'm a lifelong Bears fan. I'm going to be honest. There is a chance this shit gets tough and the Bears falter. There's a chance of that. But I'm having more and more confidence that while they're going to face their adversity, while they're going to have their losses, they're going to have tough losses, they're going to have bad losses over the remaining part of this season. The direction and the route that we're going, the trajectory that we're on, things are looking up for the Bears. And we just got to hope that they're going to be able to, again, take those punches to the chin, adapt, do what you need to do, and show that moxie, right? Show that resiliency that's needed. Like, you're not going to go anywhere if you can't be resilient. If you can't deal, if you're just a front runner and things just go good for you, you can't deal with it. You can't really trust that in the NFL. This team is going to go through its bumps and bruises. This team is going to go through games where we look at it and say, what the fuck was that this game? It's going to happen at some point this season, but we're starting to see a better ability for them to withstand that and take that to the chin, like I said, and then adapt from it and improve going forward. And a lot of that shows with the adaptability that both Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron have shown with their coaching as well. So you got to love that. And so, we'll see how that continues to develop for this team, and hopefully this keeps going in the right direction, and we'll see. One of the things, though, that are going in the right direction for this team is Jaylon Johnson. I'm sorry. I know I'm not always somebody who likes to be braggadocious. That's a lie. But last season, heading into last season, where I was when there are a lot of questions from Bears fans, some Bears fans, right? I always think with doing this job, it's always one of those things where you have to determine what's skewed between just the fact that you just talk to so many Bears fans, between like what's just a loud but smaller community. But there are a lot of people who doubted Jaylon Johnson last year before he got his contract extension. And I've said it before. There are a lot of people that try to explain away Jaylon Johnson's his value by if he was getting interceptions or not. I always remember the time where I got into a back and forth with somebody that said, well, Jaylon Johnson can't be a shutdown corner if he's not getting interceptions. And I was like, do you know what a shutdown corner is? Like, there's the reason of shutdown corner is that you shut down your side of the field. And nobody really does that better than Jaylon Johnson. Now, luckily last season, he got his career best in interceptions and getting those takeaways. And so that even silenced some of those guys that kind of look more at the box score than watch the game. But Jaylon Johnson is the best coverage cornerback in the game of football. I've talked about it many times before, and I'm going to talk about it every single time that I get the chance. So far, right, when you look at the performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he allowed 1 catch for 5 yards on 2 targets, and he played 38 coverage snaps against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Teams just aren't passing to Jaylon Johnson. And when they do, right, when you look at it, that he's allowing a QB rating, passer rating of 20.8. It gets lower and lower every time we talk about it. Jaylon Johnson is the definition of a shutdown corner. And I get it that the box score stats are easily accessible. They're easy to really kind of look at and to give a value to a player. But let's be clear and utter here. That 4-year, $76 million contract extension that Jaylon Johnson signed this season, man, listen, that's looking like not only a steal, but listen, Jaylon Johnson is worth every penny of that. When you look at the Chicago Bears defense as well, let's talk about the defense as a whole. 7th in total defense in the league so far. 6th in passing defense. 10th in rushing defense through the first 6 games. And we know our rushing defense hasn't even been that damn good. The Bears are one of the best total defenses in the NFL right now. And while they still got their things that I want to see them shore up and absolutely get better on, make no mistake about it, they got things that they need to prove on 115%. But you cannot keep denying the way that this Chicago Bears defense is performing. If you do, you're just on the wrong side of history and stupid. And a big part of that is Jaylon Johnson. We've talked about that. Jaylon Johnson shutting down his side of the field makes it so much easier for every facet of the game. It makes it easier on your safeties, your other secondary players. It makes it easier on your defensive line as well to have more time. And then, of course, with the way that Montez Sweat and Javon Dexter are putting pressure on quarterbacks, that's been huge as well. This defense is the backbone of why I think the Bears can make the playoffs. The offense is coming along, but this defense and the way they've been performing, and we, of course, got to see how they're going to do it against more upper echelon offenses. But I tell you what, when you look at this defense and the way that they take away what the teams did good in the first half of games and how much better of a second half and how we keep teams out of end zone, even on drives where we give up a lot of yards or we give up big plays. This Bears team dig ends and stops that team from getting into the end zone more times than not and holds opposing teams to field goals. That's what you want to see. And overall, man, I said it, I'm always going to be a defensive guy. I love defense, and part of that is just I've been a lifelong Bears fan, and when the Bears are good, the defense is good to great, right? So, we've never really had that dynamic, amazing offense, and so I hope that we can get to that at one point because, the offense brings in casuals and things like that, but, I want to see that, and I want to see our offense be the reason why we win games, and I want to see all that, but you got to give up credit to the defense, and Jaylon Johnson is a huge part as a leader at what he does at his position, at being the guy on that cornerback being the leader in that cornerback core that's solid 1 through 4 when everybody's healthy. We got a special thing going here with the Chicago Bears defense, and I, for one, am happy that it's going to continue, and let's see. Now, before we get into the mailbag, we got a voicemail that I want to get into. The NFL has flexed the Week 8 matchup against the Washington Commanders, which was originally supposed to go down earlier. They have now moved that game to be at 4:25 Eastern time. It went from 1 p.m. Eastern to 4:25 Eastern, and it will now be on CBS. And that just goes to show that the league wants to see how this Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams matchup is going to be. I think that's a big reason on that. What Jayden Daniels is doing as a rookie quarterback and Caleb Williams being the number 1 overall pick, they naturally was going to do that. And shout out to Big Kev, who really kind of was the first one to call this. He asked this a couple of days ago and said, wait a second. Could the NFL flex this game? And, it was right. I think it was the day after the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I was like, yeah, they could. Bobby was like, yeah, they could. I hadn't even thought about it at that point. Now, so that just goes to show that, listen, there are eyes on the Bears. There are eyes on Caleb Williams. There are eyes, of course, on Jayden Daniels because he's doing something special right now. And so overall, when it comes down to it, I'm glad that it got flexed in the sense that now we get to see more eyes on the Chicago Bears. But listen, the Bears, this is your time. There's going to have a lot of national media looking at you right now. What you do in this game is going to inform a lot of people's public opinions on you. And I hope that the Bears really shine right now, man. The number 1 and number 2 pick going at it, it should have always been on national TV, and regardless, in my opinion, should have always been one of your highlighted games. But, of course, you don't know if both guys are going to play enough and how they're going to play in rookie years and things like that. But, listen, this is going to be a game. This is going to be a matchup. And I, for one, can't wait to see it, man. I can't wait to see it. And hopefully you guys all enjoy this game. But with that said, we got a voicemail that I want to get into. This voicemail, this one's from Ant.
Yo, what up, fellas? It's your boy Ant. Just calling because I had a couple of groups. Not with the game. The game was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? They did their thing over in London. But the thing that I'm starting to get pissed off about is this narrative that people keep saying, like, yeah, the Jags is a bad team. They played the Panthers as a bad team. This team that they beat is a bad team. Blah, 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 blah. Get it. Those are not good teams this season. But have we forgotten that we was the team that people were saying that about last season? So, of course, we're going to be playing these bad teams this season because we are playing fourth-place teams. That's just how the NFL schedule works, to keep the game competition and everything like that going, and everybody, you know what I'm saying, excited about the games and stuff like that, because that's just how the NFL schedules things. If you finish 4th place last year, you're going to play 4th place teams next year. Now, granted, some of these 4th place teams are playing better. Like our next game against Washington, what people going to say? Oh, we just beat the Commanders? I mean, the Commanders, who they beat so far? They beat 4th place teams too. They got beat up by other teams that wasn't fourth place teams. Like, stop with this stupid narrative that it's a bad team because this, that, and the third. We wasn't a great team just last season. We still, in my opinion, is not a great team. We on the verge of becoming a great team, but we not a great team. So I'm taking these wins for what they is. Wins in the NFL ain't easy. You come by a win, you get a win, you take that win. I don't care what team it is, because the worst team in the NFL is better than any other football team on the planet that's under them. High school, college, semi-pro, you name it. It's still better than any of those teams, right? That's just how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get off that little stupid soapbox, high horse, whatever you want to call it. Love the game. Love the game yesterday. Caleb balled out. I was so sad when I seen Kyler Gordon go down. Hurt my heart when I seen that man go down. I was looking at that game like this man is gonna be the MVP of this game, and then he went down. Crushed my soul when he went down. But I do want to say one thing, because I guess it's just me. I want to be, you know what I'm saying, that perfectionist. Only thing I would love Caleb Williams to do is to stop sliding so soon. I love that he protected himself though. Don't get it twisted. I don't want him to get hurt. Like, go down when you see it coming. But if you can squeeze out 2, 3, 4 more yards in that and then slide, hey, take that. Every yard counts. But that's just me on the soapbox, you know what I'm saying, fellas? Let me know what your thoughts, as always. Chi-town up, bear down. Y'all have a good one.
All right, so pissed with the narrative around the Chicago Bears. Here's the thing. Listen, you got to beat who's in front of you. And like I said on yesterday's episode, there are a lot of good teams that lose to bad teams. There are a lot of bad teams that lose to bad teams. So while, yes, the Bears have had an easier schedule, and you can't deny that, right? Even in me being as a Bears fan, I'm not going to act like that doesn't play a part into it. Yes, the Bears have played an easier schedule. They played against some bad defenses. Yes, that's a thing. But let's not act like every team that comes up against a bad defense automatically wins that game. It's just not the case. And so there's some reason for some pessimism around the Bears. And it's up to the Bears to prove that when the lights are on. And the narratives is always going to be, the teams are always going to talk about it as if what the other team didn't do when it's the Bears. We've talked about it. The Chicago bias is real because of where the Bears have been as a franchise for years. It just is a thing. It's a thing, right? And I'm not saying it's right or I agree with it. I'm just saying that I understand it, that it is what it is, man. So, you know, when it comes down to it as well, you gotta beat who's in front of you. And that's the biggest thing here. You have to beat who's in front of you. And so, yeah, the narratives around teams like the Commanders and other ones, it is what it is, right? It's gonna happen. And so it's up to the Bears to prove those narratives wrong and to just do what they've been doing. Just go out there and play good football and let the rest of the chips fall where the hell they may. And that's the thing that happens there. And that's what I'm looking forward to, man. We'll see what happens over time. And at the end of the day, the Bears are going to bear. And, yeah, we're going to have the season that we're going to have. So I'm not too worried about it personally. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to let it frustrate me because the national media is the national media. And that's why you have guys like us, Just Another Year Chicago, the Windy City Breeze. That's why you have those type of guys that cover this team, Swifty, right? Because we love it. And fuck the national media when it comes down to it. I don't give a damn about the national media. And I do hope that Caleb Williams balls out now that the game has been moved. And I hope that they prove people wrong. So, you know, it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, I don't need a soapbox because I have a platform that I built that's built for Bears fans. And we're going to be all right. That's it. Everything's going to be proven in between the lines on that gridiron. And that's the most important thing. Let me know what you guys think as always down below. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.